Quý vị thân mến, sự hiếu kỳ, curiosity, sự sáng tạo, creativity và sự hợp tác, collaboration, đó chính là ba chữ C rất quan trọng đối với mọi doanh nghiệp trong giai đoạn chuyển đổi. Và câu hỏi được đặt ra, làm sao để chúng ta có thể áp dụng mô hình 3C này cho tổ chức cũng như là cho bản thân? Ngay bây giờ, xin mời quý vị chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau đến với phiên tọa đàm cấp cao cùng với những ban lãnh đạo hàng đầu trong nước và quốc tế. Và ngay bây giờ, ladies and gentlemen, for the upcoming discussion, we would like to invite to come up stage Mr. Douglas Kuo, General Manager Abbott Nutrition International Vietnam.
Xin được mời lên sân khấu ông Douglas Phien, Tổng giám đốc Abbott Nutrition International Việt Nam.
We would like to invite Mr. Thomas Godi, Head of Vaccine Sanofi Indochina.
Xin được mời ông Thomas Godi, Giám đốc khối vaccine Sanofi Đông Dương.
We would like to invite Mr. Oliver Blum, Chief HR Officer, Schneider Electric.
Xin được trân trọng kính mời ông Oliver Blum, Giám đốc nhân sự toàn cầu Schneider Electric.
Và quý vị thân mến, và buổi tọa đàm này sẽ được dẫn dắt bởi bà Alexis Phạm, Giám đốc khối quản trị nguồn nhân lực của Techcombank. Xin mời bà.
Và một lần nữa chúng ta hãy dành một tràng pháo tay cho phần tọa đàm với chủ đề là ứng dụng mô hình 3C cho tổ chức và bản thân. Xin cảm ơn quý vị.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, how is everyone today? Mọi người ơi, buổi này là buổi tiếng Anh á, nhưng mà chắc em xin phép được đầu tiên gửi lời chào bằng tiếng Việt đến tất cả các anh chị em có mặt trong khán phòng ngày hôm nay. Và không biết là mọi người hiện giờ đang cảm thấy như thế nào, có tràn đầy năng lượng cho buổi ngày hôm nay không ạ? Mọi người cho em một chút, cho tôi một chút phản ứng được không ạ? To một chút lên nữa được không mọi người ơi? So, this is the audience welcomes for all three of you. We are very lucky today, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to have three distinguished guests being on stage for our panel discussions today. Now, this morning, chị Thanh spoke a lot about motivation and also ikigai, right? The reason for being. And at the same time, a lot of businesses are undergoing transformation. And during transformations, people are unsure, people are lost, and not many transformations are successful. So today, through this session, we would like to share with you, through our panelists' views and experiences, how we as individuals can actually thrive during transformation and how we can together, collectively, enable organization to thrive as well. And the reason or the tips, the secrets are very easy to remember and to understand. And it lies in the 3Cs. Now, when we talk about a lot of frameworks, you know, something as easy as 3Cs can still have a lot of different definitions in the mind of the audiences. So, to leave no doubts in your mind of what the 3Cs are and why is it important, i.e. why you should be listening to us for the next 1 hour or so, I would like to start first, you know, with some definition that everyone can easily grasp of what 3Cs are really about. So let me start first by asking a gentleman who come from France, a very romantic country, but for the past many years have been based in Hong Kong and therefore have a lot of insights about Asia and how Asian markets work. So I'll start with the first C on curiosity. And on that note, I would like to invite Olivia to give your very simple definition of curiosity.
Good morning, thank you. So if you take strictly the definition of curiosity, it's a desire to know or learn something. And depending on the culture, sometimes it can be seen, by the way, as a bit negative. But I suggest for today, let's take the positive part of curiosity, really, which is a desire to learn something new.
And why, in your view, would curiosity be important during transformation? Because we can, you know, pick any other characters, right? Like strategic thinking and stuff like that. But why curiosity?
Look, probably we'll come back to that later, but if you look at the way the world is moving, what digital brings to the world, I don't think any competency that you have acquired for the past will help you to survive in the future, and therefore I strongly believe that learning is the only way to grow, and behind learning, curiosity is an extremely important part of what you can learn for the future.
Thank you, Olivia. Now, to connect to what you say, I would like to invite the next gentleman, who's also French. So I'm actually a very lucky lady today, having two French gentlemen on stage. So Olivia speaks about curiosity. What about the second C, collaboration? And here I would like to invite Thomas, who has been working for more than 20 years in different ASEAN markets and now overlooking Vietnam and Cambodia. And the good thing about this is that he's been working in an extremely matrix organization whereby collaboration is extremely important. So in your view, Thomas, what does collaboration mean?
Okay, so Xin Chao, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. Definition, I'll give a long and short definition of collaboration. But first, for those definitions, one very important notion, and we may come back to it later, it's you cannot have collaboration without trust. But we'll come back to that later. So the long definition of collaboration, it's where co-dependent people share efforts, combine their efforts with others to achieve success. Now that definition is from Stephen Covey, the writer of 7 Habits of Effective People. So that's the long definition. The short definition actually comes from him too. It's very simple. 1 + 1 = 3. That's collaboration.
And why is it important? It might seem obvious, but I would like to hear from you, Thomas. Why do we need collaboration?
Well, collaboration is important for transformation because you cannot move a group of people from a point A to a point B if there is no full involvement of the people, full understanding of the consequences, of the opportunities. And the only way to create these exchange for people to understand what the transformation means is collaboration. You need it to move people from A to B.
That is a very good metaphor. Thank you so much. Now, just to cap it off on the definition, I would like to invite the last gentleman on stage. You can call him DK. DK, despite his name, is actually Vietnamese, and he's been living in Vietnam for many years, including, but you know, his background is very much international, and he graduated from Berkeley as well, from the Ivy League. So DK has a very good mix of both international and local views. So therefore, you're very suited to speak about creativity and how you would bring the 3 C's on together.
Sure. At Abbott, we've been around since 1888, and we see a lot of transformation. And for us at Abbott, we really believe creativity is about innovation. One of the 4 core values of Abbott is pioneering. How do we connect the dots? How do we bring products and innovations to improve people's life and help society move forward? So innovation means helping the society in terms of having the best possible access to healthcare, because we are a healthcare company, and bringing the latest innovation. So you think about transformation, you would think of like smartphones, and that's the same thing. We bring a lot of new technology that improves the livelihoods of consumers worldwide, and especially here in Vietnam.
Thank you. So out of our panel's definition of the 3 C's, it becomes very clear in simple language. Transformation is about transforming, and transforming is about change. And a lot of us talk about it like big words, but in Thomas' view, and I completely agree, transformation is simply moving people from point A to point B. And in order to do that, we would require a lot of behaviors and mindset change so that people can do things differently. So who make up transformation? Is that the organization? Is that the leaders? I'm sure you have all different answers, but the right answer, in our view, is that transformation starts from you, from all of us here. And therefore, the 3 C's are important, because without curiosity, you would never be able to learn, because you're not keen to know new things. Then how can we change? Without collaboration, we cannot together make the change. It would all be individual efforts. And without creativity, we cannot connect the dots and make something different. And therefore, 3 C's are important, because these things only us as human beings can do, and therefore cannot be replaced by robots or machines. Right? So in that context, if 3 C's are so important, how can we build it first and foremost for ourselves? How do you stay curious? How do you stay creative? And how do you stay collaborative during transformation? I would like now to pick on the panel's personal experiences of how you did it for yourself. because it's not easy, right, to always stay curious and collaborative and creative throughout. So on this, I would leave it to the panels, to decide who would like to share first. And personal experiences, please.
So I'll go first on collaboration. So how I became collaborative and my personal experience. I think to have a collaborative mindset, there's a big component that comes into education, how you're grown up in the environment you work. And we all know we have people that are more individualistic or people that are more altruistic. To be collaborative, you need to be able to give more than you get at first. And a lot of that happens during education. I feel that my parents educated me to be more altruistic. And that is probably helping me to be more in a collaborative mindset today. Then how did I develop this collaborative mindset that I really advocate and I find great? I think I met some great leaders. Really great leaders who showed the benefits. I had great experiences, great success projects, where deep down under, after a bit of self-introspection and talking with the people, we realized that, it's through collaboration that we achieve this. So it's how you're grown up, but it's also the experiences and the leaders you run into that help you build the spirit of collaboration.
But sometimes things are not easy, right? And especially in organizations whereby people might have different agendas, they come from different education background. And we also talk about motivation as, one of the key themes for this year's seminar. So when you face with adversity or when the conditions are not encouraging collaboration, is there any tips, Thomas, that you can share on how you motivate yourself to continue to be so and keep going?
I think a lot of the motivation I have is motivation that I get from the people that I work. Maybe unlike the different curiosity and creativity, which can be managed individually, collaboration has dependent on the others. So how to, in face of adversity, continue to collaborate is really to create momentum with a team. And how do you create that? It's actually communication. You cannot collaborate if you don't over-communicate, excessively communicate. I've had some experiences in Vietnam of transforming, making change. I over-communicated, I made mistakes in my communication, but at the end of the day, the benefit was more important. So how to manage in adversity, I would really insist on the communication aspect of the leader.
Thank you. DK and Olivia, any different views? We
Well,
would like the session to be fun, so feel free to disagree.
Yeah, so I really believe that it's integrated. Again, same thing that you heard this morning. You have to take the outside and inside in as well. And everything is a balance, right? You can't just do one or the other. Let me share with you like a story at Abbott Vietnam. A couple years ago, we saw that there's a big issue in society, right? In Vietnam, there's about 1.3 million babies that's born every single year. And the incidence of gestational diabetes, right, which is something that's very close and dear to many of you in this room, it's about 20%. Vietnamese mothers have one of the highest incidence of gestational diabetes. And together, we have to tackle a problem in terms of, curiosity. We have to study the problem. Creativity, how do we solve the problem? And collaboration, how do we work as a trusted partner in the healthcare system? So when we did a research, right, in terms of Vietnam and understanding the outcome for Vietnamese moms, we know that, there's certain things in terms of nutritional intake, even though society is very, very well off, but there's still the formula. There's just too much sugar, too much carbohydrate, not enough nutrients in there. So our scientists did a clinical study in terms of, we're just curious, why is it so high in all of Vietnam? Then, creativity. So we have to design the next generation of formula in terms of innovation. So there's two kinds of, when we talk about creativity, right, there's two kinds, right? One is commercial innovation, and one is product innovation. So how do we bring the next generation of products to the Vietnamese consumers, especially designed for Vietnamese mothers? And how do we have commercial innovations? How do we talk to the HCPs so they have access to the protocols and the screening and the awareness right now? And finally, we have to collaborate. We have to work with MOH, we have to work with the partners, we have to work with our leading hospitals, we have to work with healthcare professionals, we have to work with the patients, we have to work with the Vietnamese consumers. So when you tie everything else all together, I think Abbott is very proud to solve, a society problem, which is gestational diabetes, and we work all those 3 C's, and we transform the landscape of healthcare. So Vietnamese moms have better access to healthcare. So they improve their quality of life, and most important thing is that the next generation of Vietnamese babies will have the best nutritional outcome so that they have a better future. So, so when you see that, it's about tying it together and linking it, and it's in a very integrated view.
Thank you, DK. So Thomas spoke a little bit about communications, giving people, and DK, you talk about a purpose. So giving people a purpose, why we should transform, and then we communicate and help them understand, right? And then help them to be curious, to be creative, and to collaborate. But very important, I pick it up from what you say, we have to have a purpose to fight for, and we have to get people to understand what it is about, right? That's how we can stay, motivate ourselves for the 3C and get people to move along. So on that line of thought, Olivia, I would like to also hear what you think on this topic.
I'd like to come back on collaboration. There are a lot of people in this room who belong to large organizations, MNC, and probably collaboration today is the largest, biggest problem of most of the large companies because we are very global. We are present, all of us, in many countries. We have more and more metrics. And I would like to rebound on what I said, Thomas. For us, collaboration, and for me in particular, it's about trust, but also empowerment. So it's about finding the right recipe in the company on how you are going to manage your company globally, but at the same time, you really empower the people locally. And at Schneider, we put empowerment really as one of the 3 key values. Now, to answer your previous question is what you can do personally. I always say to the people, first of all, if you want to collaborate, you need to understand the people who are in front of you. And usually managers, people are very selfish. They think about their own job, their own objective. But the best way to collaborate is, first of all, to understand what the person is in front of you has to do, has to deliver in the company. And the second thing I like to say also is to say, before starting to blame the other about collaboration, it's about what you can do yourself, is your own scope to be more collaborative. And the more we progress in large company, the more at Schneider we believe that we are playing, if I do an analogy with sport, we are playing a collective sport. And I always say to people at Schneider, to managers who want to grow in the company, if you want to play an individual sport, don't work for a large company. If you like collective sport, it's a state of mind, and then you should work for a global company. But that's a big topic, I can tell you, for most of the global company, and not easy to tackle.
And actually, an example of collective sport is football. And we are very happy that Vietnam won 4-0 yesterday against Thailand.
Congratulations.
And a lot of the scoring was actually happened not by one individual, but by collaboration between different team players. So I really love that metaphor, right? Thomas, you look like you wanted to say something else just now.
Well, I have a lot of things to say, but after what you just said as well. But I'll go back to your initial point, which was about purpose.
Yes.
And actually, it's I have even a question for the audience. In your company or in your organization or even within your teams, how many of you know the vision and mission of your company by heart? So think about it. We came to the realization a few years back when I was working in Vietnam that we didn't know it. So we spent some time really thinking about what is our vision, what is our mission. So our global company was helping us for this, but then we adapted it locally. We embarked the people, the team locally on this vision and the mission. Then we went a step further. We went, how do we roll this vision and mission locally? So it's a priority setting exercise that we do every year. What I'm trying to say here, and it goes back to your point of purpose and sense and direction, you cannot collaborate if people don't understand why you're here. So this is building on to your point of sense and purpose. Think about it, your vision and mission. No? Yes. Do you know it by heart?
That's a great point. Actually, I only saw a few hands from the audiences, so seems like you asked the right question that make people think a little bit. So everyone, really 3 C's are not that difficult to build, right? Because it's it's not so difficult for you to be curious about things. It's not so difficult for you to collaborate. And again, it's not difficult to be creative. Because as DK say, creativity doesn't have to be something big. It's just about knowing and connecting the dots and continuously finding ways to do things better. All of us can easily do this day in, day out. But why are we not doing it yet? So from the panel views, I understand that we need a purpose. Why we should practice the 3 C's more, right? And the purpose can be something from the vision and mission of the companies. And if you're not aware of that yet, you don't know why you wake up and go to work every morning and work in this company, then maybe an easy tip, first and foremost, is to find out what is the company trying to do? And is that matching with the purpose you have in life? And the second purpose that you all have for yourself is what Jitan mentioned earlier about Ikigai. Do you know why you should change and why should you become better? What are the value that you can bring to change, others people's life? If we know the purpose that we are trying to do, then it's easier to practice 3C more and motivate yourself to keep going even in the face of difficulties. So actually there are a lot of things that you say which I think really resonate a lot with the themes of today and raise good questions in the mind of the audiences as well. So you are all three distinguished individuals, but at the same time you're also leading either an organization or a big part of an organization. So to Thomas' point, it's not just about us doing it, but you have to role model for others, right? Because you get motivation by looking at your leaders as well. So now moving from the space of individual to the space of leaders and leading organizations, what in your view, from your personal experiences, are things that we can do to enable your team or your organizations to be more curious, creative, and collaborative? Olivier?
Maybe I'll start with this one. It's interesting for me because I spent 25 years at Schneider, 21 years in business, and 4 years ago I was given the responsibility of human resources globally. And when I discussed with our CEO the first time, I asked him, what do you expect from me? He said, look, I think we've successfully transformed Schneider Electric on the business standpoint. Now the next part of the journey is to transform the soft part of the company. The hard part has been successful, the soft part is probably the most challenging one. And to answer your question, I think everything is about leadership and culture. So what we are trying to do at Schneider, and I can tell you it's a journey, we are trying to create the right environment, the right cultures. We have defined what we call a people vision, which are the behavior we want to see more at Schneider Electric in the future, and what we expect from our employees everywhere. Now, at the end of the day, let's make it clear, everything is about the leaders. And I always, discuss with a top executive of Schneider or even with our CEO, and sometimes they are not happy about the culture of the company. I say, guys, you are the culture of the company. And what we don't realize, all of us in this room, we are all leaders at a certain level in our company, but people are watching us. People are watching you, people are watching me. They look at every single email that you can send, the behavior you have when you are on stage in an internal meeting, the way you speak to your colleagues. And what is very important at the end of the day is not only to define the type of culture you want to see, which most of the company do pretty well today. They have their vision, values, and so on and so forth. But it's to make sure there is a perfect adequation between the leaders show and what they say. And that's the most difficult part, because most of the leaders have 20 years of experience, so the signal they have are positive signal. You are a big boss, we are all very successful leaders, but we don't realize that if we want to lead the next transformation of our company, we have to accept that there are a certain number of things we have to change. And again, this cultural transformation is by far the biggest item in the coming years for the companies to achieve. But again, the adequation between what you say and what you show is a big question.
So what you're saying, Oliver, in effect is that if we want to promote 3 C's, first of all, it has to be integrated in the company's culture and values, right? And then very important, you can do many other things else like rewarding the right behaviors and stuff like that. But the most important positive reinforcement is actually role modeling from the leaders. So we have to walk the talk. So on that, maybe I'll ask DK and Thomas, but I also want to be provocative a little bit here. So what if the company culture does not promote 3 C's?
You know, maybe if you don't mind, I'll just give you an example. We have a value at Schneider Electric. One of our 5 core values is learning every day. Because of curiosity. 5 years ago, it was very obvious at Schneider Electric that if you say, as an employee of Schneider, you participate to this kind of forum, that will not be seen very positive in our culture. You don't do your job, you waste your time. And then we have really started to change the culture by role modeling from the top. So I'll give you a concrete example. With my management team, globally, we meet 3 times per year for 4 days. Every time, 1 day is for learning. So it's not internal meeting, it's one learning day where we go outside and we meet other company. So you have to demonstrate and walk the talk at the top that, again, you want to transform the culture of the company. And when they see that from the top of the company, everyone is encouraged to change. So we have moved at Schneider Electric from training, which was mandatory, to something which is more a learning culture, which we believe is really, again, the only way to grow in the future, just to give you an example.
Okay.
I would even be more provocative. Even if you don't have the 3 C's, the external environment will force you to change right now because it's so disruptive, right? The landscape is changing very, very fast. In any organization, I think the best that you can do is either shape your future and take the future in your hands, especially the 3 C's. Some of the 3 C's are intrinsic. It's because you are in control of it. There are certain elements that are outside your control. So I think as leaders, what you want to do is that you want to empower your organization right now, right? One of the core values that we have is learning agility. How can we enable our employees to learn more, right? In terms of functional capabilities, leadership capabilities, and also exposures to places outside of Vietnam as well, too. So curiosity is very, very important as well in terms of learning have that learning agility. I think the second thing that you have to do is it's about innovation, right? The company, as a matrix organization, as a global organization, can give you the product organization, but the Vietnam team have to come up and own and come up with commercial innovation that will work in Vietnam. I think that's a big disconnect. You will hear that global campaigns don't always work because it doesn't land in Vietnam. So how can the local team be empowered to take ownership and try certain things? And I think finally, it's a collaboration. It's the way of working will change right now. We know that we're entering the gig economy right now, right? How do we collaborate with part-timers, freelancers, people working outside of the environments right now in terms of collaboration? So the skill set is as much as an IQ as an EQ environment right now, right? So how do you foster those people that will work well together, like to play together, collaborate together in order to have an outcome that was beneficial to society?
Okay. Thank you, DK. Thomas, anything else to add?
I won't be controversial. Huh? Actually, I build on to Olivier's
You
point.
can be collaborative.
Yeah, I'll be collaborative, okay. No, it goes back to Olivier's point and how the leader behaves and what is the company actually promoting. Huh? So there's a distinction and sometimes a disconnect, and that's when leaders are not understood. What I would like to say is, at Sanofi, actually, we have 4 values. Huh? And the first value is teamwork, and the second is respect. Teamwork and respect is pretty strong on collaboration. Huh? Then we have 2 others, which are also important. It's courage and integrity. So what I like to say is you can rely on leaders to exemplify these 3 C's, but it's also good to embed in the DNA and make sure that everybody understands what those values are. So you need the example, but you also need it somewhere written in stone that people can really refer to.
Thank you. Now, talking about creativity, I also saw chị Mai Lan from Vingroup in the audience. Yes, and Vingroup, as all of you know, is one of maybe the biggest Vietnamese corporation at the moment, and there's a lot of secrets behind Vingroup's success, and one of it is creativity for sure. But at the same time, Vingroup is also known to be a very disciplined organization. And, for example, discipline in execution, and discipline in terms of having the right behaviors. So I would like to maybe invite you, Mai Lan, just to share a little bit on how you can actually balance creativity and discipline in an organization.
Thank you, Alexis. I think maybe, first of all, would like to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to answer the question. And I guess because we have many voice from gentlemen, so you may want to keep a balance by giving a woman to have a say. Thank you. And also to keep more balance, can I, sorry to speak in Vietnamese? Is this possible? Thank you. Xin chào các anh các chị ở panel, xin chào các anh các chị ở trong khán đài. Và tôi tên là Mai Lan, tôi đến từ tập đoàn Vingroup, tôi đang là phó chủ tịch của tập đoàn. Và tập đoàn của chúng tôi hiện nay có 70.000 cán bộ nhân viên và chúng tôi hoạt động trên rất là nhiều ngành nghề, từ du lịch, khách sạn, bất động sản, nông nghiệp, giáo dục, y tế và gần đây là công nghệ, công nghiệp, sản xuất ô tô và phần mềm, vân vân. Để trả lời câu hỏi là thế thì làm thế nào để hài hòa được cái vấn đề về sáng tạo và kỷ luật, thì tôi xin nói là 70.000 cán bộ nhân viên của chúng tôi, nhưng phần lớn các anh các chị đang là các anh chị lao động giản đơn. Và đối với chúng tôi thì cái sáng tạo và kỷ luật nó không phải là triệt tiêu nhau mà nó bổ sung nhau rất là tốt. Thì với các anh các chị có lẽ là đến 67.000 các anh các chị là lao động giản đơn, các anh chị là điều dưỡng, là y tá, là các anh chị sản xuất trong dây chuyền sản xuất, rồi nông dân, công nhân nông nghiệp ở trên nông trường á, thì chúng tôi rất là yêu cầu kỷ luật rất là cao, tuân thủ các cái quy trình và làm hết sức là chính xác. Thế là vì sao? Vì chắc chắn chúng ta không ai muốn là bệnh nhân mà ví dụ như người y tá lại sáng tạo ra một cái công thức mới hoặc là một cách tiêm mới cho mình. Cũng tương tự như là trong khách sạn mà mình đã có cái món ăn phở Bắc là phải cái gia vị như vậy mà người nấu bếp người ta lại sáng tạo thêm cái húng liều. Hay là tôi nghĩ là cái nghiêm trọng nhất là trong một cái dây chuyền sản xuất thì không ai muốn là các người công nhân lại cắt bỏ một số các cái con bù long, ốc vít mà lắp cho chúng ta những cái xe ô tô mà nó không đủ đảm bảo an toàn. Như vậy thì tôi nghĩ là cái điều đầu tiên là kỷ luật là vô cùng quan trọng. Và trước hết là vì khách hàng, vì sự an toàn và vì cái authentic của sản phẩm của mình. Tuy nhiên là tất nhiên là các anh chị đấy đều hoàn toàn có thể cải tiến, nhưng cải tiến trong một cái quy trình và một cái tiêu chuẩn chất lượng đã có trước ạ. Thế còn ngoài ra thì chúng tôi có 3.000 các anh chị lãnh đạo, ít rồi ạ. 3.000 anh chị lãnh đạo này thì phải đòi hỏi tư duy rất là nhiều và phải yêu cầu một cái sự sáng tạo rất là lớn. Ở tập đoàn của chúng tôi thì xin phép chia sẻ là mọi người được yêu cầu phải theo 4 bước khi làm việc. Đối với lãnh đạo, bước đầu tiên là phải tư duy, bước 2 quy hoạch, bước 3 kế hoạch, bước 4 lúc đấy mới được hành động. Nói chung mặc dù tốc độ nhanh như vậy nhưng mà không thể không tư duy trước khi hành động. Thế và chúng tôi thì cũng rất là biết là làm có những cái ngành mà chúng tôi đi sau rất là nhiều. Mình không có vốn nhiều bằng các tập đoàn multinationals, rồi mình cũng không có kinh nghiệm vì bắt buộc phải sử dụng trí tuệ, nghĩ rất nhiều các cái giải pháp. Và luôn luôn như là các anh có nói thì làm thế nào để duy trì được cái sự sáng tạo thì chúng tôi học bằng hỏi. Mọi người đặt ra những câu hỏi rất nhiều. Tại sao lại không làm cái này? Tại sao người Việt Nam lại không làm được? Thế làm cái này tại sao lại phải 9 năm? Tại sao nó không phải là 9 tháng? Vân vân. Thì đấy là cái cách chúng tôi duy trì sự sáng tạo đối với các cán bộ lãnh đạo. Xin cảm ơn.
Thank you, chị Lan. Yes. So it's very clear also from what chị Lan said that again, creativity still has to have a purpose. And therefore, discipline is really about ensuring that you're creating within a boundary that's linked to your purpose. And she also shared a very good tip from Vingroup that to enable creativity, they keep asking questions. Why and why not? To keep challenging the status quo and, making things better. So from our sharing here, again, it brings home to me at least, and I hope the audience will share the same view, that although we call it 3 C's, it doesn't have to always be called curiosity, creativity. It can be learning every day. It can be learning agility. It can be teamwork. It can be many different phrases. But at its core, the spirit of the 3 C's stay. The second key takeaway I heard from the panelists is that you don't need to sit and wait for the organization or for the leaders to start demonstrating the 3 C's. The leaders have a great role to play in role modeling, but at the same time, it also starts from you. Because to Olivia's point, you are also leaders in different parts of the organizations. So don't sit and wait for the boss to start doing 3 C's. It's something that you can start any day if you find the right purpose and give yourself a reason why you need to have 3 C's. And then you would be able to transform and help others transform successfully. I know time is running out, but it's very rare that we have 3 panelists on stage. So I would just like to close this session with one last question. And here only one thing, or one sentence from each of you. Now, chị Thanh said earlier about, again, Ikigai. And we want to use our talent to help people change for the better. So out of today's session, if you can leave the audience with one thing to take away that would change either their thinking or their actions, so that before the session and after the session, something changed. And if they want to do something differently tomorrow, they can immediately apply what you say. So for you, what would that be? And again, I would like to start, even though you keep smiling at me, but I would like to start with the one closest to me, Thomas.
Okay, so one key takeaway, I'll go to my introduction, which was the definition. 1 + 1 = 3. Huh? As individuals, do you believe in it? Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? Whatever you think, have that self-reflection on the 1 + 1 = 3. That's my key takeaway for you on collaboration.
Thank you, Thomas. DK?
So I would leave the audience with this. I call it my life hack, okay? I share with you my secret to success. Envision yourself 3 years from now. Yourself, okay? Not anyone else, your future self, right? 3 years from now, yourself in the year 2022. And if he came back in the future and there's a time machine that they could come back from the future, what would your future self tell you about today? What do you need to learn about learning, about curiosity? What do you have to be creative right now? And how do you have to collaborate and work with others right now? And if you can, get a head start on all these 3 things so that you can be your best possible self 3 years from now, right? So this whole concept about your future self, talking to your present self, and about Ikigai.
Thank you,
Thank you.
DK.
So I will leave you probably with one thought, which is really learning is the only way to grow. But learning is about the emotional and physical state of mind that you can create to have the right capacity to be curious, to be present, and to listen. And I think probably in leadership, one of the biggest skills which is missing today, it's about listening, be able to listen and be able to be curious and learn from others. So learning is the only way to grow.
Thank you, Olivia. So on that note, everyone, I hope you all would be able to take away something useful for you. And whatever you do, remember, it all starts from you. Tomorrow, you can start to learn. You know, you can start to give yourself the value of if you collaborate better, what would be in there for you. And envision yourself 3 years down the road. What would you like to become? And that's the reason why you need to start practicing the 3 C's today. So for me, the key takeaway, thank you, gentlemen, is that it all starts from you, the 3 C's. And hopefully, everyone would be happy and help yourself and your organization transform successfully. So thank you very much.